Hi, ladies. Good evening, and welcome to our free masterclass from Crown of Faith Network. I am Vivian, the founder of this lovely organization, and I'm super honored to be here with you ladies this evening. As you guys know, I love to go ahead and provide a platform for women that are making an impact in the community, for kingdom entrepreneurs to go ahead and pour into us and pour into other women. So tonight, I'm super excited because I have an amazing woman here with us tonight, and she's actually going to pour knowledge into us about her business, about her strategies, and what she's done to become successful in her business. She has launched her own company and is a six-figure earner. And so she's going to go ahead and teach us the strategies, what works, the systems. She's also going to probably share about, maybe some ups and downs that she's gone through and how she's kept God at the center of it all. So I'm super excited. We have Mariah Brown on board. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Mariah. Mariah, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm very, very, very excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Um, so I guess to start, um, I did gymnastics. That's where it all started for me. That's where business all started for me. Was when I was doing gymnastics. I did competitive gymnastics from the time that I was 7 years old. And I quit when I was 13. I was very talented, worked really hard. But I fell in love with gymnastics at an early age. And I told my mom when I was 8 years old that I was going to open a gymnastics gym one day. And when I was 23 years old, I did it. I opened my own gymnastics gym at 23, a lot younger than everybody says that you should do it. But I've always had a knack for business, always a knack for strategy, problem solving. And so I did it. I opened a gym and its name is Tidal Wave Athletics with my business partner, Samantha. Um, we coached together. She did cheer, I did gymnastics. And I was like, God just put us together and we are the dynamic duo, like yin and yang for real. Weird, the dynamic duo. And it's really nice to have somebody that can kind of help pick up the slack, if I have something going on or if my kiddo is sick. And so once we opened the gym, within 3 months, we had already outgrown our space. We started with 104 children. Our first week, in our first 7 days of being open, we registered 104 kids. And by the time it came around to March of 2021, because we opened in January of 2021, we had already outgrown our space and had exceeded 350 children in 2 months. It was wild in 8 weeks. And so I've learned a lot along the way. A lot of mistakes have been made. But a lot of successes as well. I am under the belief that failure is not where it ends. You are not a failure. You need to fail forward, and you need to learn from your mistakes, and look back and be thankful for them, because there's always a lesson when you fail. And so after I had opened the business, and we moved to another location, now we have about 500 kids that are currently enrolled in the program. We've been open for about 4 years. We have so many people on staff. We have even like our cheer teams are in Florida right now for the national competition. And our program's just doing really well. But it's not just the coaching part. There's a strategy to how we're doing so well, why we market the way that we market, how we talk to our customers, culture. All of those things were intentional. We did not just stumble upon them. We did not, just come by them on happenstance. It was strategic, and it's a strategy that I got from the Lord even when I didn't realize that it was from him. I've been saved for a while, but I really just thought that it was like fate. I said I was going to do it when I was 8, and I'm doing it now. But that's not what it was. All glory to God. We had made over $1 million in less than 4 years. $1 million in revenue just from I started when I was 23. My business partner is a little bit older than I am, having no clue what we were doing. Absolutely no clue. But by the grace of God, we've been able to kind of figure it out along the way. So I knew that I was called at an early age to do business, even as like doing lemonade stands or like selling stuff at school, getting in trouble for selling things at school. That was me. I can sell ice to an Eskimo. I can sell anything to anyone. And I love to help people. I actually have an employee of mine who does she loved to do her nails. I coached her for a really long time. She loved to do her nails. And I said, hey, like, press-ons are a thing. They're a really big trend. You should start a press-on business. And she did. And she is so fully booked that she does not have time to do anything else. And it's been amazing to give her an idea like that from the throne room and then to help her with her strategy, and like it's fully taken off. Like she doesn't need my help anymore. She's got it. She got her EIN number and her SEC number. Like she is ready to go, fully functioning and making a lot of money making press-ons. Like that was my first like business client. I say she was like my guinea pig because I knew that I loved business, but I didn't really know what to do with it. But in 2024, I became a single mom. Um, due to some things that had happened, and I realized that the one income that I was having from the gym was not going to be enough to be able to accommodate the lifestyle that I wanted for me and my son. And so, I just began to pray that the Lord would bring me a second income or even a third income. And I stumbled upon somebody who was selling a course. She was selling a course, and you could resell the course for 100% profit. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. Little did I know that the Lord did not intend for me to resell that course. He intended for me to get all of the knowledge out of that course and build my own. And so, a few weeks ago, I just launched my own first course called the Automated CEO, and it's been amazing teaching people how to fully automate their businesses. So that is just a little bit about me. I think that there is a little bit of my story that can relate to just about anybody. The highs, lows, ups, and downs. I've been through a lot in my 27 years. And so I pray that this blesses you. So I'm going to start off in prayer. Father, I thank you for every person that is under the sound of my voice, every person that is here live, and every person that will listen to the replay. God, I thank you that you will get all of the glory. Father, I thank you that you are going to fill my mouth with what you want to speak to them. Father, I thank you that you are giving us wisdom and strategy. Father, I thank you that their ears would be open and tuned into what your spirit is saying directly to them. Father, may this masterclass be a catapult to their next. God, and we just thank you for this gathering. We thank you for Vivian, the host. I ask that you would bless her exceedingly and abundantly
Well,
for being a vessel.
was I click on a boat? Yeah.
Amen. Okay, so the first thing I kind of want to chat about is the three kingdom keys for going from idea to income. If you have notes, I would suggest you take them because there's going to be so many good gold nuggets in here. So the first thing I want to talk about is clarity is the starting point. So many people will say, Maddie is the girl's name that I helped start the press-on nail business. I was able to see she really loves to do her nails. I had been coaching her since she was 10 years old, and this kid always had her nails done. Obviously, it did not start out with her nails being perfectly pretty and shaped and all of those things, but it started out with a passion. It started out with something that she really, really, really enjoyed doing. And as someone who is able to look and kind of see what you're good at and teach people how to make that profitable, I was able to say, like, you enjoy this. We should not be bound by our businesses. Our businesses should be something that we're passionate about, something that we could do even if we wouldn't get paid. Now, obviously, that's not the goal. We want a passion that turns into a profit so that you're actually making money, but you should enjoy doing it. And so you all need to have clarity in what you're doing. You need to say, well, what do I like to do? Make a list of 5 to 10 things that you really enjoy doing. If you don't have a business and it's something that you're interested in doing and that you want to do it. Write down the 5 to 10 things and say, okay, well, this is what it is. And then start to ask, start to pray over it and say, God, how can I turn this into a business? Give me wisdom. Give me strategy. What can I do? So you need to know what you're called to do and what problem you're anointed to solve. A business should be a problem-solving solution. You should be the solution to someone's problem. For me, for my first business, our motto, excuse me, we say we don't just teach cheerleading and gymnastics, but we help create good human beings, not children, because we're raising adults who are kind and responsible. Because what we found was is that there were a lot of gyms that taught really good gymnasts that had stank attitudes. And I didn't want that. I want you to be good at gymnastics, but I want you to be a good person. I want you to win all the medals, but I also want you to be a good sport. And we decided that what the problem that we were solving is that we were not just going to have good athletes, but these kids were going to learn good life lessons, learn how to be responsible and kind humans, so that when they left our program, that there was an imprint that was left on them. They're not just a number. They are not just, paying the bills. We care about these kids. We know their names, we know their families, and we want them to take the impartation that we're giving them, even if they're only in the program for a short amount of time, and to move on and know, like, well, I learned good sportsmanship because I lost a competition and my coach still taught us that we had to give each other a high five and tell each other a good job, even though my friend beat me. Those are things that they're going to carry with them their entire lives. And so, you have to understand what problem you're solving, and you're anointed to teach people how to solve that problem, or how to solve that problem for a specific people. The next thing is who are you called to serve? So once you figure out what you want to do, you have to really hunker down to a very specific person. And a lot of people that don't understand business really want their audience to be broad. Well, I just want to serve women. Okay, but what kind of woman? Because we all know that there's different kinds of women. There's women that have come from poverty. There are wealthy women. There are stay-at-home moms. There's working moms. There's a little bit of the in between. You have the moms that gentle parent and the moms that spank their children. Like, you have the Christian people, you have the non-Christian people. Like, there's so many different realms of women that you really have to narrow it down. And not only that, there's a lot of different ages, right? And we know, like, a 20-year-old woman is most likely not going through the same thing that a 45-year-old woman is going through. So you have to understand who you are serving. Even if you have like a clothing business, what a 45-year-old woman is going to wear is not what, a 17-year-old girl is going to wear. And so you have to understand who you're designing your clothes for. You have to understand who you're talking to, because once you have your message, you have to be able to speak that message in the language of the people that are watching you. And so, I'm a mom. I'm a single mom who runs two businesses. So most of the time, my audience is going to be the people that are single, trying to make money, but also be able to be a mom and make memories with their children and not have to say, well, no, I can't do that. I can't go do that because, mommy has to go work. I've been there, I've done that. And I want to teach people how to do that. So that's my target audience. What is yours? So I hope that you guys are writing all of this down. Figure out what you're anointed to do. What problem are you anointed to solve? And then you need to hunker down on who is that person. Like, narrow it down even to race. I am serving, Black women between the ages of 25 and 35 who have experienced single motherhood at one time, and they don't just want one business, maybe they want another stream of income. Those are the people that I serve. And you can't get too specific, because the more specific you are in your messaging, the more they're going to relate to you. And so you just have to really begin to understand and break it down. And the last thing I'm going to say as a tip for this section is don't chase trends. You need to move with an assignment. It's really easy to hop on the Christian trend. Being Christian is very aesthetic in 2025. But I don't want you to hop on the trend of only serving Christian women or anything like that. You need to do whatever the Lord's called you to do. The Apostle Paul did not serve the Jews, he served the Gentiles, but he was a Christian. And so some of us are called to really serve Christian women. My business is called Kingdom Funder. I am called to teach kingdom people how to be entrepreneurs and how to fund the kingdom of God through their businesses. That is what I'm called to do in this form and fashion. And so you have to pray, really ask God. I don't have an answer for you. Miss Vivian's not going to have an answer for you. You have to ask the Lord who you're called to serve and who that person is, because he has all the answers. He made you. He made your business. Like he is the beginning from the end. He knows everything. And so if you seek his face and you begin to ask him, Father, what am I good at? What am I passionate at? Okay, and now who is my audience? He will be able to tell you. He is never going to lead you astray. Like I told you, I started with this whole course thing thinking I was just going to resell the course. And then I realized I went on this journey for about 3 or 4 months trying to figure out what my niche was. And I just began to ask. Lord was like, ask people that are around you what you talk about all the time. And so I did. I went to like 5 or 6 of people that I talked to almost every day. And I said, when we talk, like, what is something that really lights a fire in me? Business. And everyone said the same exact thing. And they were like, you love to encourage people to open up their own businesses and to be free and to stop working for people and to make their own money and to be their own boss. And so I was like, okay, Lord, well, that's confirmation. So that's what I did. I said, you know what? The Lord had already given me the name. He had given me the color scheme. And I said, okay, Lord, well, I guess I'm going to do business coaching, which is a really broad thing, but who am I called to serve? And he said, well, who are you? So a lot of us as business owners don't know who we're serving because we don't know who we are. So you need to know your identity as a business owner before you can begin to serve other people and help them find out who they are. Step number 2 is that strategy is the bridge. Passion is not enough. I had you write down all of those things that you love to do, all of those things that you're good at. But being passionate isn't going to do anything. The Bible says that faith without works is dead. So you can have faith and you can be passionate all day long, but if you don't have the step by step, A to Z plan, nothing's ever going to happen for you. I'm so sorry to tell you, I love you and I want something to happen for you, but you can have a vision and not put it to action and nothing's going to happen. You can't sit on your hand and think that you're going to juggle a ball. It's not going to work. You can say that you want to juggle all day. I want to learn how to juggle and do all of that. But how can you do that if you're sitting on your hands? Because you can't juggle without your hands. It's impossible. And so we just really need to, I'm just going to be honest, unspiritualize business to say, well, God's gonna. Okay, God is, but you have to too. Jesus had to go physically get on the cross. He had to physically do it. He couldn't just do it spiritually and say, okay, it's done to telestai. He couldn't do that. And so we have to understand that once we write these things down, that's not where it stops. It doesn't stop at the prayer. There has to be an action that follows the things that you're writing on this paper. And I would submit to you that if you are not ready to do the action, then you may not be ready to start a business yet. And that's okay. You need to let the Lord work on you. It's okay if you're not ready to be a business owner right now. It's okay if you're not ready to put in the work right now. The most important thing is that you are willing to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, Lord, I know I'm not ready. Lord, I know that I am not good at following through, but I want you to help me because your transparency is where the Lord will meet you and he will begin to help you. The second bullet point that I have for strategy is the bridge is that pricing, packaging, positioning, and marketing are key. I'm going to say it again. Pricing, you have to know what you're worth, what the service you're offering is worth. And I'm just going to go ahead and say this. A lot of these things are not in my notes. I'm just flowing with the Holy Ghost. When you first start, need to look at the people that are in your market and what they're pricing, and then look at what you're offering and be really honest and say, okay, well, like, is what I'm offering worth what they're doing? You need to do some education. You can't just charge what you're worth, what you feel like you're worth, and it be so far left field. You can't do that. When we first opened the gym, there are 2 other gyms in the area that do what we do, that are in our exact niche. So now there's 3 of us, and we were looking at the kind of equipment that we had, the kind of coaching that we had. We didn't have any kind of testimonials. We had no social proof to prove that, we could charge more than these higher end gyms and that they were going to get more bang for their buck. Miss Ellie, it is pricing, packaging, positioning, and marketing. And so we had to decide, we're actually going to go a little bit under in prices. Number one, to make it more accessible to kids. That was the first thing. I really want to make it accessible to children. I could be rolling in the dough with this gym, but that's not what this is for me. I'm serving my community with this program. So we decided to go a little bit under what everybody else was pricing. Number one, because no one had experienced us before. We could have probably charged more than the highest price, but we would have been missing that foundation of people, getting people that we typically wouldn't get. And we had no proof to show that our methods worked. So when you're first opening a business, I would encourage you, pray about it, take it to the throne room, to price yourself a little bit under or at the same as the lowest person that is local to you in your niche. And for those of us that have online businesses, then you just look at people, you look at your competitors. I can be competitors with someone and still want them to win. Actually, the gym that I grew up doing gymnastics at is my competitor. I go to her gym all the time and I talk to her about everything because we understand that though we are competitors, we both want each other to win. And that's the kingdom way. You can be in the same exact niche as somebody that you love and be competing against them, and you guys can both win because there's enough in the kingdom for everyone. The Lord's never going to run out of resources. He's never going to run out of money. He's never going to run out of people for you to serve. And so that really leads me into my next thing is packaging. What does it look like? What does your branding look like? Because a lot of business owners have a really good product, but their delivery sucks. Their posters and their flyers that they make on Canva are not aesthetically pleasing. I would encourage every single business owner to take some sort of marketing class or graphic design class so that you can understand what's aesthetically pleasing to the eye of humans. Like there's real studies on why people like things to look a certain way. And also, you have to look at your branding to make sure that it matches the people that you're serving. So, if you have a target audience of people that are 25 to 35 and we're serving women, most women between the ages of 25 to 35 love neutral tones. They love black, they love white, they love beige, they love like a soft pink, a baby blue. So I'm not going to go make my marketing neon green. That's not going to grab their attention, right? And so we need to begin to really think these things out and pray into these details and use wisdom. There are so many little tiny things like that, like color schemes and what you're doing that make you miss potential customers because you're just doing it and you're like, "Oh, it's cute." Well, I love that it's cute, but it's also not attracting the right clients. And then the next thing is positioning. Are you positioning yourself to be able to take on clients, or are you just hoping and wishing on a prayer? You have to position yourself as the lead expert in your niche and in your field. Even if you are not the lead expert, you better get on those social medias. You better get in your email and strut your stuff like you are the king and queen of your field. Godfidence is what I call it, not confidence, because confidence is in yourself. We have confidence in God and what He's put on the inside of us, and knowing that even if we don't see it yet, it's already there. What the Lord wants to pull out of you in this season of being a business owner is already on the inside of you. It just hasn't been activated yet, and you just haven't found it. But the only way that you're going to find it, the only way that you're going to activate it is by stepping out in faith and doing what the Lord's called you to do. And then finally, marketing. Marketing will make or break your business. I talked a little bit about it in packaging and what it looks like, but marketing has to be diverse. There are so many different ways to market your business. You can market on social media, which is where most people stop. Most people stop at social media. They have diverse platforms. They're doing it on Facebook, they're doing it on X, they're doing it on Threads, they're doing it on TikTok, they're doing it on Instagram, they're doing it on Lemon 8. Like there's so many different platforms that are, all kind of included in social media. But a lot of people, we saw this with TikTok. I'm very passionate about this subject because I want you all to learn and I want you all to understand. When TikTok went away, there were so many business owners that panicked. They had no email list. They had no Facebook page. They had no Instagram. They had no other way to connect with their customers other than TikTok. And that was it. They didn't have any other way. And so you have to not only in social media diversify your platform and be on multiple platforms and be selling those platforms. Shameless plugs. Hey, if you're on my TikTok, make sure you follow my Instagram. Every one of your platforms, this is a little nugget, something that you can write down. Every one of your platforms should have something that's a little bit different than the other so that they're not fully getting everything on one platform. On my, like, even though I post the same things across my Facebook, my Instagram and my TikTok, I post all the same things on those, but sometimes my stories are different. Sometimes I give them something because my audience is different on each of them. I don't have very many people that follow me on all three platforms. And so I have to understand that there are older women that will only be on Facebook. There are a little bit of younger women that will only be on TikTok. There are some other people that will only be on Instagram. A lot of people don't have time to just be scrolling on three different platforms, trying to figure out where you're at. And so you need to diversify your platforms, but social media is not the only form of marketing. The best form of marketing and the most underrated form of marketing is word of mouth, when people will sell your product for you without you even having to ask. If your product is so good that you can get people to sell it for you, you will never run out of business. You could miss posting on social media for 7 days and still be getting people buying from you because people love your product so much. If you don't believe me, if someone said, "Oh my gosh, Mariah, I love your blazer." "Oh my gosh, I got it from Maurice's. Don't you love it?" Do you know what they're going to do? They're immediately going to go to the Maurice's website, or they're going to go into a Maurice store and they're going to buy this because I love the product so much that I sold it for the company. Your clients are your best tool for marketing. If they can buy into you and buy into your product so much so that they're willing to tell other people about it, you don't have to post on social media 3 times a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to do that. You should be posting on social media because it is a form of marketing, but it is not the only one. My second favorite form of marketing is email marketing. Email marketing is not dead. It's not dead. It should not be dead. People still check their emails. That is not the dinosaur time way. I'm telling you, I get so many sales, so much interaction on my emails. Are there people that don't check it? Yeah, but I also believe that my obedience to being in the emails and diversifying the way that I market to people, like I said, there's going to be people that get on their emails that don't ever open up Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, but they check their emails all the time. And so they're not missing out. So we really have to understand that marketing is more than social media. And that is probably one of the biggest things that I've learned, because we've learned that at any given time, social media can go away because the government decides to ban it. And there's nothing that you can do about it. So what if Instagram, because Instagram and Facebook and Threads are all the same company, it's all Meta. TikTok goes away. X goes away. What are you left with? Word of mouth and email marketing. You have to understand that if one of your marketing platforms goes away, that you have a backup. You have a plan B, C, D, E, and F. You have that ready to go. My third bullet point is that automation is the vehicle. Now, automation is my favorite thing to talk about. I love to talk about marketing. I love that. I love automation because automation makes it possible for me to be able to run 2 businesses and be a single mom, have a life, serve the Lord, and never miss a basketball or football game for my son. When I tell you all I have no help, I mean I have no help. That's it. Like, I don't. I've never missed a game. I've never missed nothing. Never missed a basketball game, never missed a football game. Obviously, like, my sisters, my mom, my grandmother will help take him to practice and stuff, but I've never missed it because I can say I'm stepping out of my business and I can either delegate a task that needs to be done by a human because you cannot automate everything. If you take the humanness out of your business, nobody's going to want to buy from you because people don't buy from businesses. They buy from people. because they buy into you and what you have to offer them. You are going to get so many more sales talking to people about your business and them seeing how passionate you are about it than you would if you were just selling on social media and they never got to talk to you, which is why it's important for you to show your face in your business. I love, these faceless accounts that people have in digital marketing, but it misses a point of personalization for me. Like, I don't want to buy from somebody and I've never seen your face before. I don't want to buy from someone and I don't know what your character is, because I believe in the principle of reaping and sowing. And if I sow into you and you're a terrible person and I don't know who you are, I don't know where you're from, I don't want to buy into you. I don't want to sow into your life. I'm so sorry. And I know that that sounds really harsh, but people want to know who you are. They want to know about your life. And obviously, we can't show our customers everything. We can't tell them everything. That's not wise. That's not wisdom. There has to be a boundary, but there are parts of your life that you can share with them. And you should. You are your best marketing tool. But automation, systems equal sustainability. If you can find systems that work for you, work for your company, and work for your business, and they do the repetitive tasks over and over and over and over again, you've now freed yourself up to do more money making activities. I have a program that does all of my DMing for me. They comment a trigger word. I'm so many of us have seen this. They comment a trigger word on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. My system sends them a DM, like a personalized message with the link. They're able to go straight to my store and purchase it. I never had to do a thing. On Tuesday, I planned out my next 14 days of emails, got them all done, and scheduled out for the next 2 weeks because I have a really busy 2 weeks ahead in less than 30 minutes. And every morning at 8 a.m., everyone on my email list gets an email from me. And I'm not having to do it. I took 30 minutes on a task that usually takes people about 30 minutes a day. I did 14 emails in 30 minutes in one day. That's what automation can do for you. And it makes sure that you don't get burnt out. Automation is the antidote to burnout. If you can automate as much as you can, right? Automate as much as you possibly can so that you have time to do other money making activities. Because now that those emails are done and I'm not having to send them out for another 14 days, I can, start writing my second book, because I released a business book at the beginning of this year called 30 Days to a Stronger Business. If you haven't bought it, you should. It's very good. There's like notepads and stuff in there for you to be able to write notes and do all of that. But I can start writing my second book. I can start planning for my second course that I'm going to be launching, because I'm not being tied down by answering 12,000 emails or doing DMs and doing all of that, because I have systems that do that for me. The next thing is that automation allows God to bless what you're no longer too overwhelmed to maintain. Overwhelm and burnout go hand in hand, and overwhelm comes before burnout. If you are feeling overwhelmed in your business consistently, you are on the road to burnout, and you're probably you're right there. You're right on the cusp of it. And the Lord has given you a business to be a blessing to you, not so that it can be a burden. Businesses are blessings. They are not burdens. So if you feel overwhelmed, it's because your business is turning into a burden and not a blessing. And if it's turning into a burden and it's no longer a blessing, that means it can't be God. We really have to understand. We have to understand that businesses are so spiritual. So those were my 3 points, 3 kingdom keys for going from idea to income. The next thing is, what is automation and why it's a kingdom tool? Automation and artificial intelligence go hand in hand. They do, because a lot of the things that you do could be automated if you would just use AI. All of my social media is perfectly curated through Chat GPT. The course that I just launched, Chat GPT. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I put all the ideas in there. I say, this is what I want to do, but it refines it for me, and it takes up so much less time that I'm able to do the job of 2 or 3 people with one system. And it's amazing. And AI is not the devil. AI is not demonic. Could it be used like that? Yes, of course. The enemy could make anything demonic if he wants to. He sure can, but you are not demonic. It depends on how you use it. You can turn it into a demonic thing. You can turn it into a thing that is now evil instead of good. You know, the Lord gave Adam and Eve the garden as a blessing, but because they did the one thing he asked them not to do, it became a curse of all for all of mankind. We're cursed forever. You know, obviously Jesus came and died on the cross, but something that was intended for good was turned to evil. So do you understand? Like AI is amazing, but you just have to learn to use it. You know, us as Christians cannot be the last people to the business table anymore. We can't do it. We're supposed to be the innovators. We're supposed to be the trend setters. I am a trend setter. I will be a trendsetter. I may not be a trendsetter yet, but mark my words, one day I shall be a trend setter. And you need to begin to declare that over your life. Automation helps you build a business that doesn't cost you your peace. This is what we were just talking about. If your business is costing you your peace and you are overwhelmed and on the edge of burnout, you need automation. It will save you so much time. So, the definition of automation is systems that run without you, emails, DMs, and digital delivery. So, when people purchase my digital products, I don't send anything. My system does it all for me. I had to take time to set it up. Don't think that automation means that you're lazy, but automation is putting in the work in before. It's the prep work so that you're not doing the work in the midst. It took time for me to prep all that stuff. It took time for me to create the automated CEO and get all of the lessons and the modules and all of that in there. It took prep work. But once it was done, I don't have to do anything anymore other than my Sunday calls at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's all I have to do. Um, so automation is Proverbs 31 wisdom preparing in advance, which is what we just talked about. God created rhythms and order. Systems are godly. The Lord did. System, in point. The sun rises, it goes around, it sets, and the moon comes up. That is a system. The Lord does not have to tell the sun when to rise and shine and when it's time for it to set. He doesn't have to tell the moon when it's time to go because the Lord uses systems. He set a system in place and he said, this is what it is. And it operates without him every single day until he says stop. That is what your business should be doing for you. God can't bless what you're too overwhelmed to maintain. I'm going to say it again because that's so powerful. God can't bless what you're too overwhelmed to maintain. You should write that down. So the next portion is the kingdom growth blueprint from called to profitable. So up until this point, we've talked about, writing your stuff down, figuring out who your target audience is, kinds of the do's and don'ts. Should you automate? Should you not? But now this is like the nitty gritty stuff. You don't have to choose between impact and income. You can impact people's lives and still make money. You should be impacting people's lives and still making money. You don't have to choose. There are certain things that you should not be profiting off of in the kingdom of God. You should not be profiting off of deliverance. You should not be profiting off of people's prophetic words. But Deuteronomy 8:18 says, "It is the Lord your God who gives you the power to create wealth." Well, what is the vessel for that? Business, entrepreneurship. That's how you do that. And so the first thing, write this down. Number one, identity. You are a kingdom entrepreneur, not a hobbyist. Your business is not a hobby. And if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to make money like a hobby. You have to understand who you are and what you bring to the table. And a lot of people that feel very unworthy don't succeed in business because they don't think that anyone's going to buy their product. And if you, as the person that created the product, the person that created the business, don't think that it's worthy to be sold, nobody's going to sell from you. You have to think that your product and your business is the best thing since sliced bread. And if you market it that way and you really feel like that, people will buy into it because they're buying into you. Number two, offering. Package your passion into services, courses, and products. Now, doesn't matter if you are doing digital products, whether you are doing a service-based industry or a product-based industry, it doesn't matter. Something I was literally thinking about this earlier. Whatever you're doing, sell apparel for it. That is the easiest way to get a second stream of income in the business that you already have. If you own a restaurant, make apparel for your restaurant. Sell t-shirts and stuff. I'm in the process of beginning to start apparel for Kingdom Funder because it's an easy way to make money because people wear clothes every day. And if you have something that's really cute, they're gonna buy it. Number 3, systems. Automate tasks to free up your time. Owning a business should not mean that you're shackled. Oh, I can't do that. I got to send an email. I used to be the mom who always had to say no. When I first opened my business, I was working 7 days a week with a 2-year-old child who was with me every single day. 7 days a week, no days off. And it got to the point where I was so tired and so on the brink of burnout that I told the Lord, this can't be you. There's no way that this is what you called me to do. And that's when I began to stumble into the digital marketing space, digital product space. And I realized that there were so many people making hundreds of thousands of dollars by being on their phone less than an hour and a half a day. And I took what I learned in that course that I bought and I applied it to Tidal Wave Athletics. And now that gym can run without me so smoothly. Obviously, it's a service-based business, so I'm there. I'm still coaching. I still enjoy coaching. So I still am there. But on the back end, I have either delegated or automated almost every single one of my tasks so that I don't have to do it anymore. So if I have to step out, I can cancel a practice and be like, you know what? I just can't be there today. And it's so freeing because I'm not shackled to my business. My business has not chained me down to where I can't move anymore. I can't go on vacation if I don't want to go on vacation. I can't travel if I don't want to travel. If your business is doing that, you really just have a job. Like you just have a job that you can't take off from ever. You have a 24/7 job getting paid no overtime. That's not what the Lord called you to do. That is not the kingdom way. That's not the kingdom way. The Lord's intent for you was for you to be able to be wealthy and making money so that you couldn't be bought by the devil and so that you serve him in spirit and in truth and not be held down by a job because you need to make a paycheck or you need insurance. That's idolatry. If you can't take off to serve God because you're scared that you're not going to have enough money, your job is your God. Your job is your provision. And that's not what the Lord has ordained for you. That's not what he wants for you. He wants you to be able to serve him. And the way that he gets us to be able to do that is by giving us freedom in our businesses. Step number 4 is scale. Use the freed up time to grow, disciple, and serve. So this is where I want to talk about the difference between growing and scaling because a lot of people, I didn't even know what scaling was until a few months ago, but I began to really do a deep dive into what the difference are. A lot of people want to grow their businesses. Growing your business takes a lot of finances. It takes you expanding. So, for instance, when we opened the gym, we were in a 7,000 square foot facility. When we moved to a 28,000 square foot facility that was quadruple the amount of space that we had. We had to spend a lot of money remodeling that space and buying more equipment to be able to offer more of what we were doing. So it took an investment. If you want to grow your business, it's going to take an investment for you to be able to do that. You're going to have to invest in it. You're going to have to learn a new skill. That's what growth is. Scaling is not the same. Scaling is being able to offer more of what you have, more of what you already offer, more of what you already do, and it doesn't cost you anything. There's a difference. Both of them will make you more money. But for people that are just starting out, scaling's better. There is a time where your business will have to grow. Just like children, they go through growth spurts every now and then, right? There will be times where you have to invest in your business to get your business to grow, and scaling won't work. But a lot of times, scaling will work first to buy you time to be able to get you to make more money so that you have the extra money to be able to grow your business. So, in closing, I have a free gift for everybody that is here. I have an ebook called How to Become an Automated CEO. It was kind of the precursor to me being able to open up the Automated CEO, the 12-week course that I offer. And so, everyone that's here, you'll be getting that for free. Even if you registered and you will be getting the replay, I will still honor that. So, all you have to do is you have to follow me on Instagram, and then you message me on Instagram. My Instagram is Kingdom Funder. Just plain Kingdom Funder. You see that right there? Yep. Kingdom Funder. And you will just message me and say, hey, I was on the master class. I really want to get access to it. You'll send me your email and I will send it right to you. Right to your email so that you can have that. That is my gift. That is my gift for you, because I want to bless you. I want you all to be able to win the way that I'm winning. I want you all to have the time freedom that I have to be able to serve your families, to be able to serve God, and to be able to love your life. You should love your life, and you can't do that if you're tied down by your business. And so that is my free gift to you. And the last thing that I want to say is that you were never meant to carry this vision alone. It is so important for you to surround yourself with kingdom minded people. If you don't have anybody, I would be happy to be that somebody for you. I would be happy to be that somebody for you. I love to hold people accountable. I'm very good at it, because I'm a tough love kind of person. I'm going to tell you, hey, you didn't do that. You were supposed to do that. Why did that not get done? We need to do that. Let's do it together. Let's hop on the phone and I'm going to walk you through the steps and I'm going to make sure that you do it. So you need to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people that love you. But not only that, but God should be your CEO. The Bible is your compliance manual. It's something that I said a few months ago, and it's something that really stuck to me. God is my CEO, and the Bible is my compliance manual. You're not doing this business alone because the Lord is leading and guiding you in all truth. This is His business. He gave it to you so that you can give it back to Him. He gave you the business so that you could sow back into His kingdom. This is supposed to be a cycle where He gives, you receive it, and you give it back. He gives, you receive it, and you give it back. And so God is the CEO, you are the steward. And the goal should be to work less, make more, and serve God. Don't just chase impact. Let God multiply it. Thank you, Vivian, for allowing me to share and to pour into your community. I love you all.
All right, all
Woo!
right. I am super fired up. I think I want to go run around the block.
Take me with
Like,
you.
I'm like, you know what? I'll be back, guys. Okay. But yes, those are some amazing nuggets, especially when it comes to business. I hope that everybody was taking notes because, this is just, across the board, a lot of the basic fundamentals when it comes to business, and especially coming from Mariah, who has done it. This is something that you definitely want to take to heart. You definitely want to go ahead and pray on it, think about it, get in touch with her, get her freebie, guys. You know me, I'm all about supporting women. So, follow her on Instagram, support her. We're all about kingdom love here. And, her success, does not dampen anybody else's success here, so we're all about just women empowerment and making sure that we all succeed. And at the end that we're all doing it for the glory of God. So I'm so excited. Mariah, do you have a few more minutes to go ahead and answer some questions from the ladies? I know I did promise them a Q&A session at the end. I'm pretty sure they may have some questions, some follow-up questions that they may want to know, maybe something that you mentioned that they want some more information about. So if you guys want to go ahead and type your questions in the chat, or feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself as well, and she can go ahead and answer your questions. Does anybody
I'll
have any
unmute myself. Okay.
questions?
Oh, I do. There's one thing that resonated with me, Miss Mariah, when you said that and I'm paraphrasing it, but we have to we have to scale up. And so that's one of the things that resonated with me because prayerfully at the beginning of last week, I went and signed documents for an office. Now, the Lord has placed a few entrepreneurial income streams on my lap, and He just kept on telling me, I can't show up for you if you don't show up for you, right? So one of the things that I first off wanted to just thank you for the confirmation. And Vivian, of course, I'm always absolutely grateful. But do you, because this is where the Lord has me now, is I believe that yes, the insurance thing is a thing for me. Yes, all these other facets of business are a thing for me, but it really for me is more like a business consultation firm because I have all these different items. Would you or are you open to, meet with me? I guess that would be my question, to help me structure and kind of narrow down what it is I'm doing. I have the business plans. I have all these different things. I have the EIN. I have the 504s, the 501c3, a lot of different stuff. But I just kind of, rather than be so scattered, would you be open to see what I have? Uh, and pray over that with me as well to see if we can get, I guess, hunker down on what it is I'm doing. I know it's more strategic business, business consultation, but I think I'm my own guinea pig. So would you be open to help me strategize that? Outside eyes are always very helpful. Do you offer that kind of service? If not, maybe that's your extra stream that you're taking off on. But yeah, that's what I wanted to just share with you.
Yeah, well, thank you for being brave and speaking. A lot of times when we're in environments like this, people don't want to speak up. But I want to encourage you all. There's no question that is dumb. There is no stupid question. There is no question that you should already know. We're all here to learn. And a lot of this stuff I got by asking questions. I got them by asking the Lord questions and other successful business owners that were around me. So I want to encourage you all, even if you feel like I already covered it, or maybe you don't quite understand, ask the question. Ask the question, because you like asking that question may lead to somebody else having a question, and then it'll just be a domino effect and we'll learn all together. But I do offer one-on-one business consultations, one-on-one business coaching, and I usually use that for the people that have all the ideas and they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. If you're working, oh, you said you're working overtime over here.
Oh,
um
I got Jesus working overtime, girl. Yeah. Yeah. So I
yeah.
do know the different facets of business. I think it's just more like, so it's more organized. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have like, it's all intertwined. I work in addiction medicine, so I have that facet. I'm working in addiction medicine. A counselor, I have a space for that. It's more like, uh, I'm a licensed girl, I'm a licensed everything right now. Licensed pharmacy tech, I'm a licensed this and that, I'm a licensed insurance agent, but it always seems to be like I'm coaching people into organizing their business, just never coaching myself. I'm always building somebody else's nonprofit, never building into my own nonprofit. But it's funny because it's like all the structures are there, all the policies, the procedures. Now it's just sitting down like, okay, well, now how do I organize? How do I have the office space though. I'm ready to see the clients. I could get you an insurance policy, bake you a cake, and send you on your way, but I just kind of I need organization, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely what I do. I've had quite a few clients. Um, one, for instance, she just messaged me the other day. She had had her business on like 3 or 4 different platforms, like Stand Store, Beacon. She'd had them on like a whole bunch of different ones. She couldn't decide which one she liked. She had like her email on one, and then, using this feature on another. And it was just very all over the place. And she had a vision, but it just wasn't very clear. She knew everything that she wanted to do, but she didn't understand how to make everything fit into one. And
That.
so I
Right.
was able to really help her streamline everything, figure out
There
what
you
we
go.
needed to use and what we kind of needed to put to the side. Because I do not believe that when the Lord gives us visions and ideas, that they're always for right now. Sometimes we write them down and we put them in our back
Amen.
for a
Thank you,
better
Lord.
time. And so, especially prophetic people, I believe that all Christians, all believers who are filled with the Holy Ghost are prophetic in nature. Jesus himself was a prophet. He was prophetic. And if our Father is prophetic, then we, as his children, are by nature prophetic. And so, a lot of times, the Lord will show us things and we will see things but it's not time to use it yet. And that's where your prayer time really comes into play, to know when to use it and when to put it to the side. There were a lot of times that I really had ideas, and they were really good ideas, but I used them prematurely because I didn't discern the time in the season. So yeah, that's definitely something that I can help you with. I love to do that, to kind of be able to put, pen to paper and figure out, what we can use right now, what we need to put to the side for later, because we're not throwing them away, because if the Lord gave you the idea, he intends for you to use it. So it's definitely something that I can help you with. If you want to message me on Instagram, I would be so happy to help you out and make sure that we can get this business in order God's way. I also saw Caroline, or is it Carolina? I hope I said your name right.
Yeah, Carolina.
Carolina. What would I say to the people whose God-given gift is an abstract thing, as in sharing stories? I feel like you could do a lot with that. You could be a content creator, like just creating content, editing your videos and telling stories. There is a woman, I cannot remember her name, but she got very, very, very famous by telling like murder mysteries. I think is her name Bailey? Something like that. She would tell like murder mystery, horror story kind of stuff while she was doing her makeup. She's so good at telling stories. That is very abstract. I feel like you could totally do that.
I think it's Bridget.
Yeah,
Was it
you could,
Bridget?
something like that. I think her name started with B. I know what her face looks like. I
Yeah.
don't remember her name, but you could be doing something like that. You could be telling Bible stories. You could be telling Bible testimonies and be turning that into a business. You could write books. Like, just to be very honest with you, I used ChatGPT to help me edit my book. I had all of my ideas and everything that I wanted, but it was kind of all mishmash, and ChatGPT was really able to help me get it all organized in an outline that worked for me. You could totally do something like that. If you're good at telling stories and you want to do like a Christian, fiction stuff, nonfiction, like whatever, you could literally run with that to make so much money. People would pay you money to tell their stories. That's what they do. Like you honestly, in today's society, you can turn anything to a business. And I'm just going to be really honest. If people can make money by selling pictures of their feet, you can make money by telling stories. You can do it. So you can totally do that. I know that that's funny, but it's the truth. Like if secular people can do that, you can make money by making a business out of you telling stories. If that's a gift that God's given you and you love to do it and you're passionate about it, the Lord will give you strategy. And you may be a pioneer. You may be the first of your kind, the first person to step out in 2025 to be able to make money, and you may be able to pave the way. You could turn it into a course. Once you get successful and you understand what you're doing, make a course, sell it for $500 to teach people how to, turn their storytelling into making money. There's so many things that you can do, so many things. You just have to think out of the box. You got to not think in the earthly box. You got to think out in the heavenly box, and ask the Lord to increase your understanding, to increase your capacity to dream and believe. I believe that the Lord gave us an imagination for a reason. And when we get older, we get told that we're not allowed to have an imagination anymore. And I just don't believe that's the case. The Lord gave you an imagination so that you could dream again, so that you could dream with Him and that you could see what He wants you to see. Even if it seems far off, you can do it. I so believe that you can do that. And I can't wait to watch you do it. I would love for you to reach out to me. I'd love to be able to help you with that. Does anybody else have any questions? I don't think I saw any.
I think that is it. Unless we have anybody else that wants to unmute themselves really quick before we wrap this up. 1, 2, 3. No? Okay. Alrighty. Well, you know what? Once again, I am so grateful for your time, Mariah. I am so honored that you wanted to go ahead and pour into our women here at Crown of Faith Network. You guys can catch this replay. I'm going to go ahead and post it on my YouTube channel. So that is called Crown of Faith Network, and that is the hub where my podcast is downloaded as well. You can check that out, and all of my workshops and master classes are going to be featured there. So stay tuned for what I have in store for you guys with Crown of Faith Network. My membership is launching on Monday. I'm so excited, and I have so much in store for you ladies. My job is to go ahead and be here and be of service to you. I love you guys, and I can't wait to go ahead and see what the Lord has in store for all of us. So I love you guys. Have an amazing night, and we'll be in touch.
Love you. Bye. God bless you.
Bye, ladies.